Thank you. You have 4 minutes, please.
Okay. Thank you, Chairperson. On behalf of the National Coalition of Human Rights Defenders in Kenya, I would like to congratulate you and the Vice Chairperson on your election, and also thank the Commission for regularly reminding us of our roles to protect and promote human rights. Anchored the Bill of Rights in our Constitution, and for the first time, the Kenya's national census included a third gender, which is intersex, to the list of responses, a move which we applaud. At the same time, it also included indigenous peoples, unlike previous decades where they were either not counted or were lumped together with the larger dominant tribes that they have long accused of displacing them from their land and threatening their ways of life. But specific concerns with regard to freedom of expression and associations, which are all protected by the Kenya Constitution, we note that there has been violation with impunity. What we note, for example, is that soft censorship is the latest means used by the entities to whip the media into compliance, where commercial interest, partisanship, social media, and political ownership of the news outlets are the greatest threat to the media freedom in Kenya. Chairperson, in August 2019, the state ordered the eviction of an estimated 60,000 Kenyans from the Mau forest. The evictions are still ongoing, even though investigations into similar incidents where human rights abuses by security agencies were documented in July 2018 were not acted upon, and no assurances have been made for indigenous people in the forest. Chairperson, harassment and intimidation and detention of human rights activists has continued when they exercised their right to peaceful assembly. For example, on the 30th of April 2019, a woman human rights defender was arrested for participating in a peaceful protest dubbed Beyond Zero Corruption. The HRD was detained for close to 10 hours and was later released without any charges being preferred against her. A week later, on the 6th of May, another human rights activist was also arrested and questioned for allegedly plotting a revolution. This arrest came just 5 days after he led a demonstration, which was peaceful, to protest escalating corruption. Furthermore, in March 2019, we've noted that the Public Order Act Amendment Bill of 2019 was presented to the National Assembly, which includes intended provision for organizers of public meetings or public processions to take responsibility for property loss or compensate any affected person. While there is a general consensus by CSO that the Public Order Act needs to be amended substantially or replaced by a new law, we take note that this bill seeks to further restrict the right of freedom of assembly and unduly punishes conveners of protest instead of calling on police to carry out their role to facilitate peaceful protests. Chairperson, the National Coalition of Human Rights Defenders has documented up to 20 cases between January and today where activists suffered intimidation. This is despite protection provided for in Article 11 of the African Charter for Human and People's Rights and international laws that safeguards the right to free assembly. So in light of this, we call on the African Commission to, number one, call on the Kenyan government to provide a favorable, safe...
Your time is up.
Thank you.
Thank you. We take note of the update that you have provided us on the human rights issues facing human rights defenders in Kenya, issues relating to censorship, and we also take note of your report on the eviction of 6,000 people from Mau First and also the statistics that you have provided relating to 20 cases. Thank you very much for that. The next is Plan International. I don't see the representative of Plan International. We'll move on to Alliance for Africa. You have 4 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chairperson of the ACHPR, the Solidarity for African Women's Rights represented here by Alliance for Africa is a coalition of over 50 organizations working on women's rights in 25 countries. SOA was formed with the principal objective of advocating for the adoption, ratification, domestication, and implementation of the protocol to the African Charter on Human and People's Rights on the Rights of Women in Africa, also known as the Maputo Protocol. Honorable Chairperson, the African Union member states committed to achieve universal ratification of the Maputo Protocol by 2020. We congratulate the Democratic Republic of Sao Tome and Principe, which recently ratified and deposited its instruments of ratification with the AU Commission, making it the 42nd AU member state to ratify the protocol. We urge governments who have not done so to sign, ratify, and deposit their instruments of ratification to the African Union Legal Counsel Office. Honorable Chairperson, we would like to commend the African Union Commission and the ACHPR Special Rapporteur on the Rights of Women in Africa for launching last year the All for Maputo Protocol Roadmap. We commend the renewed interest by the AU and the African Commission to work with a cross-section of actors, including civil society, to ensure that the Maputo Protocol is not only signed and ratified, but also domesticated and implemented throughout the continent. The framework places great emphasis on the close cooperation between the AU member states, the AU Commission, the ACHPR, and civil society organizations as integral for the realization of the rights of women and girls on the continent. We urge the Commission to remain seized of the 2020 deadline for the universal ratification of the Maputo Protocol. Honorable Chairperson, SOA aspires for universal ratification of the Maputo Protocol, and in this regard, we urge the 13 remaining AU member states, Botswana, Burundi, the Central African Republic, Chad, Egypt, Eritrea, Madagascar, Morocco, Niger, the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic, Somalia, South Sudan, and Sudan, who have not ratified the treaty to consider doing so in order to ensure that the women and girls in these countries enjoy the rights as enshrined in the protocol. Honorable Chair, we note the increased number of states reporting on the Maputo Protocol and commend the Commission for its continued efforts towards building the capacity of states to report on the Maputo Protocol, in line with the state reporting guidelines issued by the Commission. The SOA Coalition urges EU member states to domesticate and implement the protocol at the domestic levels. Further, we call on EU member states to comply with decisions rendered by the ACHPR. We continue to urge that the commissioners at the African Commission on Human and People's Rights remain seized of the need to promote and protect the independence of the Commission. Last but not least, the Solidarity for African Women's Rights Coalition would like to take this opportunity to thank the outgoing commissioners for their service to the cause of human rights during their time at the Commission and wish them the very best in their future endeavors. I thank you.
Thank you very much also for making it within the time. And we join you in thanking Sao Tome and Principe for joining the group of states that have ratified the Maputo Protocol. We also congratulate Special Rapporteur on the rights of women on the work that has been undertaken, including the roadmap, as well as the target for universal ratification in 2020. Also, the point I join you in expressing deep appreciation to our colleagues who are on finishing their term. Thank you very much again. The next one is minority rights group. The representative of minority rights group, are you here? Thank you. You have 4 minutes.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Honorable Mr. President, honorable commissioners, excellence, representing states and other African and international organizations, Minority Rights Group International is an international human rights organization founded with the objective of working to secure rights of ethnic, national, religious, and linguistic minorities and indigenous people around the world. This declaration is being presented on behalf of the African International Christian Ministry, an NGO in Uganda that advocates for the right of the Batwa, thank you, and Bennett indigenous communities. They declare as follows: the indigenous people of Uganda, we include the Batwa and the Bennett, acknowledge the government of Uganda's commitment to realize core international human rights standards. We note, however, that the full realization of these rights for indigenous people on the basis of equality with all Ugandans is an aspiration but not a reality. We acknowledge the fact that the government of Uganda, as stated in a number of policy documents and reports, recognizes that there are communities with distinct way of life and culture that require specific attention in order to overcome their extreme marginalization and life on margin of Ugandan society. Despite this, there is no law, including the Constitution of Uganda, that explicitly mentions indigenous people. Furthermore, there is no national policy or guidance on the principle of consultation or free, prior, and informed consent to guide the action of government, agency, and other actors working with indigenous people's communities. Government policy and law fail to recognize the traditional governance system and decision-making structure of indigenous people. As a result of this continued lack of recognition, the Batwa have faced human rights abuses through eviction from their ancestral land. They are therefore landless, live in extreme poverty, and now face possible extinction after having been forcibly evicted by the government in the early 90s from their ancestral land, which are now managed under the Ugandan Wildlife Authority or the National Forestry Authority. We therefore ask the Commission to urge the government to recognize the historic injustice done to the land rights of the now landless Batwa indigenous people and allow their return to their ancestral land, to recognize and promote the role of the Batwa in the traditional management of their forest, and justly and fairly compensate for the suffering caused since the final and official eviction of 1991, and provide for the return of land gazetted or otherwise taken without free, prior, and informed consent of the affected indigenous people, or where there is not possible, take immediate steps to provide restitution for such land acquisition, including just and fair compensation. We thank you.
Thank you. We take note of the issues facing the Batwa in Uganda. Thank you very much again. The Legal Resource Center is the next on the list. I don't see the representative of the Legal Resource Center. Human Rights Awareness and Promotion Forum. Is the representative of Human Rights Awareness and Promotion Forum here? Next on the list is FIACAT. Thank you. You have 4 minutes, please.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. 32, c'est le nombre d'années de prison auquel Germain Rukuku a été condamné pour ses activités de défenseur des droits de l'homme au Burundi. Exécution extrajudiciaire, disparition forcée, actes de torture, violences sexuelles. Dans ce pays, les violations des droits humains continuent dans une impunité générale et les défenseurs des droits humains sont en première ligne de ces représailles. À ce titre, la FIACAT souhaite rappeler ici que Germain Rukuki de l'ACAT Burundi a été condamné en appel le 17 juillet 2019 par la Cour d'appel de Burundi, par la Cour d'appel burundaise de Tanyangwa. Monsieur le Président, la FIACAT souhaite que le rapporteur spécial sur les défenseurs des droits humains se penche sur cette question de M. Germain Rukiki. Monsieur le Président, la Coalition mondiale contre la peine de mort, la FIACAT et la Fédération internationale des droits de l'homme tiennent à féliciter l'Angola, qui est le dernier pays au monde à avoir ratifié le deuxième protocole facultatif se rapportant au pacte international relatif aux droits civils et politiques, qui vise à abolir la peine de mort. Toutefois, il reste encore beaucoup à faire en ce qui concerne le combat abolitionniste en Afrique. 18 pays appliquent un moratoire de fait sur les exécutions, tout en maintenant les condamnations à mort. Et 16 pays continuent à condamner à mort. Monsieur le Président, 2019 restera l'année de la reprise des condamnations à mort au Niger. En mars 2019, la Cour d'assises de Zender a prononcé 4 condamnations à mort. En juin 2019, la Cour d'assises de Niamey a prononcé à nouveau 4 condamnations à mort, dont une femme. En septembre 2019, donc, la Cour d'assises de Tawa a prononcé une condamnation à mort. Monsieur le Président, honorable commissaire, pensons aux 9 familles de ces condamnés à mort qui verront leur vie bousculée, brisée. Pensons aux enfants dont les parents ont été condamnés. Souvent oubliés, ils portent un lourd fardeau émotionnel et psychologique qui peut constituer une violation de leurs droits humains. La stigmatisation de la communauté dans laquelle ils vivent et la perte d'un parent aux mains d'un État renforcent l'instabilité profonde de la vie quotidienne de l'enfant. À l'occasion donc du 30e anniversaire de la Convention internationale des droits de l'enfant, qui sera célébrée ce 20 novembre 2019, donc, il nous est rappelé que la peine de mort constitue une violation profonde des droits de l'enfant, qui sont des droits humains. Il s'agit d'une des nombreuses raisons pour lesquelles l'abolition de la peine de mort en Afrique est un impératif. La coalition contre la peine de mort, la FIACAT et la FIDH appellent donc les États à assumer leurs responsabilités et à maintenir l'intérêt supérieur de l'enfant conformément aux normes juridiques régionales et internationales. Je vous remercie.
Thank you for drawing on the attention of the Special Rapporteur on Human Rights Defenders regarding trial that's ongoing in Burundi, and also the issues that you highlighted relating to death penalty and death sentences, which the chairperson of the working group takes note of. Thank you very much again. Next, it is International Initiative for Social and Economic Rights. I don't see the representative of Initiative for Social and Economic Rights. We proceed to African Center for African Center for Democracy and Human Rights Studies. Thank you.
Mr. Chairperson and Honorable Commissioner of the African Commission on Human People's Rights, distinguished representative, the African Center for Democracy and Human Rights Studies, through my voice, is honored to participate to the 65th session of the African Commission on Human People's Rights here in Banjul, the Gambia. We would also express our gratitude to the Commission, which has been providing a space for expression and cooperation to the African civil society community through the voice of the NGO Forum. The Commission The Commission continues to strengthen its relation with NGOs through the engagement of special rapporteurs in activities organized by civil society. For the past 2 years, the African Center collaborated with the Commission to establish a Lusophone and North African human rights defender network in order to enable their participation in the African session and strengthen their capacity on the African human rights system and mechanism. Excellency, indeed, the NGO Forum is a continental platform of discussion gathering activists, advocates, civil society representatives working on human rights, on human and people's rights throughout the continent and beyond. The space is an excellent opportunity to work out a recommendation to be submitted to the African Commission to assist the amazing work of the African Commission in is accomplishing in Africa. The 2019 African Union theme, Year of Refugees, Returnees and Internally Displaced Persons towards the durable solution for forced displacement in Africa, depicts a sad reality on the continent. Our continent is in mutilation. So we need to contribute in changing the paradigm and the narrative about refugees and IDPs in Africa. These challenges are xenophobia, physical attack and abuse, lack of adequate shelter and health services, violation of refugees, migrant, asylum seeker and IDPs' rights. More to that, we noted promises in regard to women's rights, but few concrete actions. We use this channel to recall the African Commission to call on states to provide equal respect for the right of refugees, asylum seekers, migrants, and IDPs, regardless of the background. Urge states to outline key approaches to core principles that should guide and underpin all protection efforts. Call on states to consider NGOs as a partner in the development process of initiative and program targeting refugees, migrants, asylum seekers, and IDPs at the national level. Call on states to develop an effective development cooperation with NGOs in order to ensure freedom of expression and association in their respective countries. We strongly believe that this approach is the strategic means to foster inclusive solution to tackle our common area of concern. Recalling on African values, the African Center believes that the humanitarian protection is a key value of every citizen and should be a commodity reality. We hope to see a brighter future for all refugees, migrants, asylum seekers, and IDPs. Wishing you an excellent, fruitful session. I thank you.
Thank you for doing it within time as well, and also for the points that you have highlighted relating to particularly the theme of the year for 2019. Now we move to the next. It's Zimbabwe Human Rights NGO Forum. Thank you. Your mic.
Sorry. Honorable Chairperson and Commissioners, the Zimbabwe Human Rights NGO Forum welcomes the opportunity to address you on the human rights situation in Zimbabwe at a time when Zimbabwe is on the Commission agenda. The human rights situation in Zimbabwe has continued to deteriorate since the last intersession. Honorable Chairperson, we are presenting this statement against the background of the recent visit by the UN Special Rapporteur on Freedom of Assembly and Association. The Special Rapporteur in his preliminary findings raised concerns over the human rights situation in Zimbabwe that impacts on the enjoyment of freedoms of assembly and association by the citizens. Violations of fundamental rights and freedom remain worrisome. Systematic targeting of human rights defenders through judicial harassment, abductions, torture, and hate speech have been on the increase. Section 22 of the Criminal Code on subverting a constitutional government has been widely used to persecute human rights defenders for exercising their freedoms of assembly and association. The crime is similar to treason and attracts up to 20 years of imprisonment. This year alone, 22 individuals are facing this charge. Honorable Chairperson, the forum is concerned by the surge in abductions and torture cases targeting mainly human rights activists. Since January, at least 67 cases of abductions have been documented. Torture continues to be used by enforcement agents with impunity. Just a few days ago, Hilton Tamangani, a vendor, was tortured by the police and died while in custody. To date, there has not been any genuine investigations despite reports being made to the police. We urge the Commission to call upon the government of Zimbabwe to ensure that the right of the security of the person is guaranteed in Zimbabwe and those responsible for these heinous acts are brought to account. Honorable Chairperson, we are concerned that the exercise of the right to peaceful protest is presumed unlawful by the government of Zimbabwe. Arbitrary and blanket prohibitions have been imposed on protests, with those asserting this right being criminalized. There is also a worrisome trend on the use of military in managing protests which contradict international standards on policing of assemblies. The government of Zimbabwe has not put in place effective and adequate measures to ensure that the responsibility of maintaining public order is upheld by civilian rather than military authorities. In that regard, we remain extremely concerned that the recommendations of the Mohlande Commission into the August 1 shootings, which resulted in the killing of at least 6 people by the security forces, have not been implemented. Honorable Chairperson, the current economic crisis in Zimbabwe has caused untold suffering on the majority of citizens. The healthcare system is in a deplorable state. This has been compounded by the failure by the government to come up with a durable solution aimed at addressing the genuine concerns by medical professionals. Medical professionals have been on an industrial action for close to 2 months now, citing poor conditions of service, shortage of drugs, equipment, and safety to work. This collective job action has impacted the ability by majority of citizens to access health care, a huge threat to the right of life. We request the Honorable Commission to call upon the government of Zimbabwe to respect, protect, fulfill its obligations under the Charter, and in particular to cease the ongoing attacks against human rights defenders and union leaders, and to investigate all allegations of human rights violations, including abductions and torture, and bring those responsible to account. We also call upon the Commission to urge the government of Zimbabwe to adopt effective measures to resolve the current impasse with the medical professional, to ensure access to healthcare facilities by citizens, and lastly, to come up with a durable solution to the ongoing economic crisis in the country. I thank you, Honorable Chairperson, for your kind attention.
Thank you for highlighting some of the issues relating to freedom of assembly and association, the issues facing human rights defenders in particular, and the statistics that you have mentioned, the issues relating to torture and accountability, and also the implementation of the recommendations of the Motlanthe Commission. And of course, the human rights issues arising from the difficult economic conditions and the need for addressing these conditions, including resolving the impasse with the medical professionals. Thank you again. Next, it is Naus Derores. Thank you.
Bom dia. Sua Excelência, Presidente da Comissão Africana dos Direitos Humanos dos Povos, senhoras comissárias e comissários, distintas delegadas e delegados, prezados, senhoras e senhores, colegas, meus cumprimentos. A situação dos direitos humanos dos países lusófonos, apesar dos avanços em termos de ratificação de convenções e tratados internacionais que se verificam nos países africanos lusófonos, nomeadamente Angola, Cabo Verde, Guiné-Bissau, São Tomé e Príncipe e Moçambique, continuamos a vivenciar vários problemas de violação de direitos humanos comuns que trazemos a esta Assembleia. O acesso ao sistema de justiça é precário, os serviços são burocratizados e os procedimentos morosos, o que nos coloca numa situação de justiça lenta e seletiva. Em Angola, Guiné-Bissau e Moçambique, continuamos a assistir à repressão de manifestações pacíficas pelas forças policiais que têm feito recursos a equipamentos bélicos, à polícia canina e ao gás lacrimogéneo contra os manifestantes. As nossas instituições prisionais continuam com problemas de superlotação, más condições de habitabilidade, maus tratos aos reclusos, ecoam programas ineficazes e de reintegração de população carcerária na sociedade após o cumprimento da pena. A situação da violência contra a mulher e criança ainda é um problema que aflige as nossas sociedades, que os nossos Estados não têm respondido de forma adequada e satisfatória. Os casos de casamento forçado e precoce é uma situação preocupante na Guiné-Bissau, bem como o rapto e tráfico de crianças nos meses de colheita de algodão. Apesar desta situação, continuamos a ter dificuldades de assegurar maior proteção e igualdade de direitos para as meninas e mulheres. Em Cabo Verde, estão desde julho a adiar a discussão e aprovação da Lei da Paridade, que reivindica para as mulheres igualdade salarial, consagração da parentalidade e maior participação nos cargos políticos. Os órgãos de comunicação social públicos continuam a ser excessivamente politizados e controlados, disponibilizando muitas vezes de informações que não correspondem à realidade dos fatos. O sistema de saúde é precário, desumano, negligente e não tem coberto toda a população necessitada. As condições de atendimento e de internamento nas unidades sanitárias expõem os pacientes a problemas de saúde acrescidos. É importante referir que é comum nos países lusófonos o abandono dos doentes mentais pelas famílias e que o Estado não tem definido políticas e disponibilizando o tratamento para responder a esta situação. O sistema de educação de ensino é precário. Neste momento, o sistema de ensino público está paralisado na Guiné-Bissau e 90% das crianças não têm acesso à escola devido a greves recorrentes. A abordagem da questão LGBT continua a ser encarada com resistência nos nossos países, sobretudo quando se trata do direito de associação. A Lambda, única organização LGBT em Moçambique, está em processo de registro desde 2017. Apesar das recomendações em 2018 do relator especial para a questão de orientação sexual e identidade de gênero da ONU, o Estado moçambicano continua a violar o artigo 10º da Carta Africana, que estabelece a liberdade de construir associações. Excelências, as organizações de direitos humanos dos países lusófonos da África estão distantes dos mecanismos regionais de defesa dos direitos humanos e não sentimos real interesse dos nossos governos em participar e cumprir as orientações da Comissão Africana. Sentimos igualmente que a Comissão Africana tem falhado na missão de acolher a todos, pois até o momento não estão disponíveis em português vários documentos no site da Comissão, inclusive o convite e inscrição para participar nesta sessão. Hoje, o nosso grito é de socorro. Acreditamos que esta comissão pode ser um divisor de água na defesa e garantia dos direitos humanos nos nossos países. Por isso, instamos a comissão a intensificar contato com os nossos governos e realizar mais visitas oficiais para verificar as situações de violação de direitos humanos. Muito obrigada.
Thank you also for highlighting the difficulty that human rights organizations in Portuguese-speaking countries face in terms of accessing this commission, particularly in having documents in Portuguese and being able to communicate with them. And also the various human rights issues that you have highlighted in the various Portuguese-speaking countries, including Guinea-Bissau, relating to various issues, human trafficking, kidnapping, early marriage, as well as the 19% of children who are not able to go to school. Thank you again. Southern Africa Litigation Center. Thank you.
Honourable Chairperson and all distinguished guests, all protocols observed. The Southern African Litigation Centre wishes to address the Commission on the human rights situation in Zimbabwe and Malawi. Zimbabwe is in crisis, facing chronic shortages of physical money. The country's economy has faced a steep economic contraction this year, with country's year-on-year inflation having soared up to 300%. The soaring inflation has led to widespread suffering of the people, whose wages have been eroded by the spiraling rate of prices of basic goods. Other challenges faced include forced evictions, internet shutdowns, food insecurity, and insufficient access to healthcare, clean water, as well as the right to education, with a large proportion of children being turned away due to non-payment of school fees. With regards to freedom of expression, the state has arrested several people on charges of undermining the authority of insulting the president. With regards to freedom of assembly and association, during the period of January to September 2019, authorities have continued to suppress freedom of association and peaceful assembly, as well as the right to demonstrate and petition. They have used lethal and excessive force against protesters to quell demonstrations. With regards to abductions, arbitrary arrests, and torture, some people have been recently abducted by unknown armed men with masks and later released on charges with various criminal charges. The victims of abduction were also tortured by their abductors. Zimbabwe is yet to ratify the Convention Against Torture and Other Cruel, Inhumane and Degrading Treatment, as well as the International Convention for the Protection of All Persons from Enforced Disappearance. On 18th October, Tafadzwa Hilton Tamangani died in police custody. The current prison conditions in Zimbabwe's remand prisons are harsh, with poor access to medical assistance, inhabitable conditions, and limited food and clean drinking water, as well as poor sanitation. The police also threaten and arrest journalists, medical doctors, and lawyers monitoring the protests or assisting protesters. This includes the recent abduction of Dr. Peter Magombe. On Saturday, 19th October, a photojournalist was assaulted by the riot police during running battles with the police and vendors in Harare. With regard to the inability of Zimbabwean citizens residing in the diaspora to vote, this commission has already held that a refusal for the diaspora to vote violates the provisions of the African Charter. However, Zimbabwe has still not implemented that decision. In light of the above, we request the Commission to call upon the government to respect the rights of citizens to freedom of expression and association, to investigate all arbitrary arrests, and for the perpetrators to be held accountable. We further call on the state to ratify the International Convention Against Torture, and we also call on the Commission to encourage Zimbabwe to improve its prison conditions and to bring them in line with international standards. With regards to Malawi, Malawi held general elections earlier this year. There was nationwide unrest resulting from the outcome of these elections. A case challenging the outcome was taken to court several months ago and is still awaiting a decision. There are serious concerns regarding judicial persecution, harassment, and intimidation of human rights defenders, journalists, and civil society organizations. They have been persecuted, intimidated, harassed, and threatened. On the 5th of July, Zomba-based human rights activist Mr. Banda was forced to flee his home after he found an unexploded petrol bomb near his house. Madalitso Banda was forced to flee his home. And on the 9th of July, Malawi police arrested prominent human rights defender Griff Trapans and Reverend McDonald Sembereka on false allegations of misappropriating funds. On the 15th of August, 3 petrol bombs were thrown at the car and home of Timothy Mtambo, the chairperson of Malawi's Human Rights Defenders Coalition. On numerous occasions, authorities have attempted to intimidate journalists who report criticism of the ruling party. In light of this, we call on the Commission to urge the government to respect the rights of human rights defenders, journalists, and the work of civil society organizations. We call on the state to urge the judiciary to fast-track the election case, which is contesting the outcome of elections. I thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you very much. On Zimbabwe, I think it's the reiterating some of the points that have already been made relating to the economic condition and the addition of the situation of prison conditions in Zimbabwe. And with respect to Malawi, I think the issues relating to human rights defenders and journalists that we have taken note of. I see Zimbabwe requesting the floor to exercise, I think, the right of reply. Zimbabwe, you have the floor. 5 minutes, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. It is our first time to take to the floor, hence I'm asking to be allowed to join other delegations in congratulating you, Mr. Chairman. We also greatly appreciate the sterling work by your predecessor, Honorable Maiga, and her team. Mr. Chairman, Zimbabwe is in a new dispensation. The new dispensation is pursuing a reformist agenda, and all laws and policies pertaining to what used to be perceived as repressive are undergoing review. This includes our media laws, laws for the maintenance of public order and peace, and all laws to do with the freedoms and liberties of arrested and detained persons. We are aligning our laws with the Constitution. You may be aware that our Constitution is homegrown and it has been highly touted for being progressive and for its expansive Bill of Rights. Mr. Chairman, Zimbabwe is due to report during this 65th session of the African Commission on Human and People's Rights. As such, we will more fully respond to some of the allegations that are being laid against us. In fact, I would like to say most of the allegations are not only spurious, but they are unfounded, and some of them even false. Mr. Chairman, Zimbabwe human rights defenders, like any other persons, are expected to operate within the confines of our laws. We have experienced a number of deaths of police officers, and some of these deaths are a result of a direct incitement by some of the people who masquerade as human rights defenders. We also want to appeal to the Commission to instill into the so-called human rights defenders a sense of responsibility, because at the end of the day, human rights are further violated by certain conduct. Yes, Mr. Chairman, in terms of our laws, peaceful protests are allowed. And in fact, all laws that used to ban protests have been outlawed by our Constitutional Court. There's been mention of the Motlanthe Commission recommendations, which we are accused of not implementing. Mr. Chairman, this commission was put in place as a result of post-election violence, which again was caused by incitement of ordinary citizens to protest against premature release of electoral results. Unfortunately, this resulted in the deaths of 6 people and wanton destruction of property, including private property and state property. However, in terms of implementation of the Motlanthe Commission, as will more fully appear in our main report, government is implementing the commission. There is a framework for compensation. There is a framework for various other issues, including dialogue, which we have also started carrying out with all political parties which are willing to join the political dialogue. A lot has been said, Mr. Chairman, but we are going to report more fully as we get our chance to report. As you know, we are going to report. The recent death of a police officer is regretted. However, this is a very recent occasion which happened whilst we were already here, but we are also informed that a police officer also died during the scuffle that eventually led to the arrest of the now deceased, who died in police in custody. So it is premature to judge the cause of the death, since the matter is still under investigation. So, Mr. Chairman, I'll stop here, but we shall respond to all allegations when our time comes to make our report as a country. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, we very much welcome the fact that Zimbabwe has submitted its periodic report, and we will that will give us a good opportunity to engage more robustly and in great depth on all of the issues that have been raised, and also the various updates that you have highlighted. And I'm happy that you are taking note of the issues that are being raised, some of which, as you rightly said, are issues that Zimbabwe is contending with, including the economic situation and also the implementation of the Motlanthe Commission recommendations. Others require further follow-up and engagement. Thank you very much again. Next, we have requests from states parties to the African Charter to make their statements. Before before I proceed with that list, I see Kenya requesting for exercising right of reply. Is that right? Okay, please proceed. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning. Chair, I'll be very, very quick on this one. It's just with the issue of the indigenous community which was raised here on the floor. Chair, let me clarify that in Kenya we have recognized indigenous communities, and we have the Ndorois, which, Chair, you would recall on Saturday there was an elaborate presentation by Kenya on the measures which has been taken to implement the decision of the court, which you are aware about. Chair, you would also recall that on 26th of May 2017, there was also a court decision involving the Ongiek, which this commission was massively informed in the matter. That decision is being implemented by the Kenyan government through an interministerial task force. Which, Chairperson, you will have an opportunity when you come for the promotion of visit to Kenya, you'll be able to get more details. Now, the issue of Mau, therefore, comprises of the true indigenous communities who have been identified. What we need to understand is that we have some other people when crossed the forest who are not indigenous. And those are the people whom the government has been saying, move out of the forest. They have caused a lot of destruction. And as we are talking, those communities, they agreed and they accepted that they got illegal title deeds, which enabled them to enter into the forest. And now they have agreed with the government to move out. In fact, there was a deadline given of 60 days. They have been moving out peacefully. The government has even been giving them transport for them to move out. And as we are talking, they are moving out. So, Chair, I would even request you send your own people to establish the truth. There's nobody being evicted in Kenya. And furthermore, Chair, you need to understand that the Mau, it's a water tower, which is not only serving Kenya, it's serving many of the Eastern African countries. In the event that forest is destroyed, it will affect the livelihood of so many people, not just in Kenya, but outside within the East Africa region. So the reality is that there is no true indigenous community being evicted. The Ongiek, they are still living in the forest. They are conducting their activities there. The people who are alleged to be being evicted, which is not the case, are the intruders who went and crossed the forest. So we need to get the facts very, very clearly. And that's why the government has accepted the commission to conduct a proportional visit to Nairobi, which we are going to agree on the exact date, Chair, after we do our internal consultation with you. So, Chair, I just wanted to put the facts clearly. Thank you.
Thank you for providing us that update. I think we welcome your assurance once again for this commission to undertake a promotion mission. But this commission notes that this is not the first time that we have been provided with this assurance. And we do, the commission, like to really urge you to speed up the authorization of the promotion mission, which helps us to get, as you rightly said, all the facts on the ground. And my understanding from the update that you provided is that there are issues that need to be looked into in terms of the report around the eviction in the Mau forest, whether they are true indigenous peoples or not, whether they are people who belong to that forest or not. I think there are issues that are worth following up. I think we would like to get an opportunity to do that follow-up as well. Thank you again. Excuse me, are you a state delegate?
Yes.
Okay, I don't see the flag for your state. Guinea-Bissau, okay. Please proceed, sir.
Ok. Obrigado, Sr. Presidente. Queria, de antemão, agradecer as oportunidades que me deram para responder algumas questões, levantar apenas mãos livres. Falou-se daqui sobre repressão das manifestações. Eu não posso estar aqui a utilizar esse microfone recusando que não houve tazato. Mas um problema é certo. No meu país é difícil distinguir ativismo com a política. Sinceramente, é difícil. Certas pessoas vestem camisa de ativismo, mas fazem política. Dali que é difícil distinguir quem é ativista e quem é político. O ativismo no meu país é praticamente confundido com os partidos políticos. Há partidos políticos que utilizam ativistas para defender os seus interesses. E isto é difícil. E falou-se daqui sobre superlotação das prisões. Eu desconheço, mas é possível. Mas tenho muita dúvida se houve, porque não temos tantos prisioneiros. As condições nas prisões realmente não são aquelas que nós desejamos ter. Mas o problema não é falta de vontade. Se calhar é problema de limites de meios, que é geral para todos os países do mundo, inclusive os países africanos. Uma outra situação que se levantou aqui, falou-se de abandono de doenças mentais. É possível, mas o problema que se põe é que nós temos 2 centros de tratamento de pessoas com deficiências mentais, um em Quinhamel e outro em Embrá. Agora, as condições em que vivem realmente não são as mais desejadas. Falou-se de tráfico de crianças. Eu não concordo com isso, porque as crianças que nós encontramos aqui a fazer essas atividades, sobretudo no Senegal, são próprios pais que enviam essas crianças para virem estudar língua árabe. Há pouco dia esteve no caminho de Bissau e encontrei alguns em Ziguinchor, pé descalços, sem camisa, andar a pedir dinheiro. Isso chocou-me. Mas isso, por que os próprios pais não sentem para eles, para estarem enviarem eles para irem estudar e passar esse tipo de situações? Se o Estado tem que preocupar, quem deve preocupar primeiro são os próprios pais. Ok. E falou-se da discriminação. Não sei de que discriminação que se fala. No meu país, eu posso afirmar que não há discriminação, a nível político e a nível de atividade econômica. E sobretudo a nível político. Nós temos um governo atual de 16 ministros, dos quais 8 são mulheres e 8 são homens. Temos 9 secretários de Estado, 4 são mulheres e 5 são homens. Portanto, não vejo uma política de discriminação tão nítida no meu país neste momento. Há dificuldades. Seria uma grande incongruência eu estar aqui a utilizar esse microfone e dizer que tudo está mar da rosa. Não. Estamos muito longe disso. E isso não é um problema só da Guiné-Bissau. Nós temos um problema que falou-se sobre a educação. Isso é verdade. Temos um ano letivo ainda inconclusivo. Infelizmente. Mas não é por falta de vontade. Problemas são conjunturas políticas a nível nacional que não permitem o governo resolver todos os problemas. Nós estamos... O governo em si está a evidenciar tantos esforços que é para diminuir e paulatinamente até chegar ao fim desses problemas que surgem na nossa sociedade. Obrigado, Sr. Presidente.
Obrigado. I fully recognize and appreciate the fact that you have acknowledged that there are difficulties and conditions that make it difficult for Guinea-Bissau to enforce and uphold rights, and also the commitment that you are indicating, and some of the issues. Obviously, I think the idea is really to take, as you did rightly, note of those points that have been highlighted, and if there are things that need to be looked up and followed up, to do that necessary follow-up. Thank you very much again. Now we move to state parties' statement. Nigeria.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Your Excellency.
You have 7 minutes, sir.
Okay. Your Excellency, Chairperson, Honorable Commissioners, distinguished delegates. We express our appreciation to the President and people of the Republic of Gambia for the warm reception accorded to our delegation since our arrival in the beautiful and serene city of Banjul, and the excellent facilities provided at this session. My delegation wishes to congratulate the chairperson for his election and also the former chairperson for a successful tenure. I want to congratulate the entire members of the Secretariat of the Commission on the successful convening of the 65th Ordinary Session of the Commission. My delegation hereby conveys the fraternal and warm greetings of the entire Nigerian people to the Commission and all distinguished participants, and wish them a fruitful deliberation. Nigeria reaffirms her commitment to the African Charter on Human and People's Rights and also all other continental human rights mechanisms. We will, in this regard, continue to demonstrate unflinching commitment and cooperation to the African Commission and its related bodies with the objective to enhance the promotion and protection of the rights of the citizens. Mr. Chairperson, my delegation wishes to use this opportunity to commend the Commission for the tremendous successes recorded in the promotion and protection of human rights, human and people's rights in Africa, despite daunting challenges, and to urge the Commission not to rest on its oars. Mr. Chairperson, my delegation wishes to acknowledge the receipt of the letter of appreciation dated 8 October 2019 addressed to His Excellency Muhammad Buhari, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, from the chairperson of the Committee for the Prevention of Torture in Africa on the rescue of hundreds of boys and men from torture and ill-treatment in Kaduna State on 27 September 2019 under the guise of Islamic school and correctional facilities. We commend the chairperson of the Committee for the Prevention of Torture in Africa for the letter of appreciation, which is an indication of the level of vigilance and of the Commission in the discharge of its mandate. The government also noted the suggestions and recommendations contained in the letter and wished to inform the Commission that an investigation into the circumstances that led to the violation has since commenced. The investigation has led to another discovery of a similar Islamic school in Daura, Katsina State, where 67 victims were rescued by the police. The victims of Kaduna and Katsina states are currently undergoing rehabilitation. Some arrests have been made, and all perpetrators of this crime will be charged to court as soon as investigations are completed. Mr. Chairperson, earlier this year, President Muhammad Buhari signed into law the Discrimination Against Persons with Disabilities Prohibition Act 2018 to prevent and punish human rights abuses against people with disabilities. The law prohibits discrimination on the basis of disability and imposes sanctions, including fines and prison sentences on those who contravene it. It also stipulates a 5-year transitional period for modifying public buildings, structures, and automobiles to make them accessible and usable for people with disabilities. I want to use this opportunity to inform the Commission that necessary consultations are ongoing with respect to ratification of the protocol to the African Charter on the Rights of Persons with Disability in Africa, We are confident that when the consultation process is completed, the government will initiate the process for the ratification of the protocol to the African Charter on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities in Africa. Mr. Chairperson, the federal government of Nigeria has taken a bold step to reform the criminal justice system with the signing into law by Mr. President in August 2019, the Nigerian Correctional Service Act. The Act changes the name of the Nigerian Prison Service to Nigerian Correctional Service in line with the reform on the criminal justice system. One of the most important sections of the new law is Section 12(8), which empowers the state controller of the correctional service to reject the intake of additional inmates where the facility under his watch is filled to capacity. This provision is a direct response to overcrowded prisons, particularly in some of the urban centers. Another important provision of the new law is Section 12(2), which provides that where an inmate sentenced to death has exhausted all legal procedures for appeal and a period of 10 years has elapsed to execution of the sentence, the chief judge may commute the sentence of death to life imprisonment. The implication of this section is that most of the over 2,000 inmates on death sentence will now be given life sentences. Mr. Chairperson, I want to use this opportunity to state that the Nigerian government is firmly committed to promote and protect the human rights of Nigerians. While much has been done in this regard across a broad range of fields, we acknowledge that challenges still remain. We assure the international community of our unwavering determination to meet these challenges in order to further improve the human rights situation in our country in a transparent, verifiable, and sustainable manner. Mr. Chairperson, in conclusion, we look forward to sharing our experiences as well as learning from other delegates and stakeholders during this session. Mr. Chairperson, Honorable Commissioners, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, distinguished delegates and participants, I thank you for your kind attention. Thanks.
Thank you, the delegation of Nigeria, for this update, including on follow-up of the communication from the Commission to undertake certain investigations into violations of rights. And also we are happy on the entry into force of the law on the prohibition of discrimination against persons with disabilities this year. And also we welcome the consultations that are currently underway towards the ratification of the Charter Protocol on the rights of persons with disabilities. And also the effort that is being undertaken to address the serious problems relating to prison conditions. This is an issue that the country rapporteur and myself have witnessed while we undertook a visit to Nigeria, and we very much commend that the government continues this effort of addressing the poor conditions of prisons. And also we welcome I think the policy that is being implemented towards commuting death sentences to life sentences as well. Thank you very much for all of that. Next, it is the delegation of Algeria. You have the floor, 7 minutes. Thank you.
شكرا سيد الرئيس. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. سيد الرئيس محترم، السيدات والسادة المحافظين، السيدات والسادة. في البدء اسمحوا لي أن أتقدم باسم الوفد الجزائري بأحر التهاني لأعضاء المكتب الجديد، متمنيا له كل التوفيق في عهدته وفي إدارة إشغال دورتنا هاته. كما أتوجه بخالص الشكر والتحية للسلطات الغامبية والشعب الغامبي على حفاوة الاستقبال وكرم الضيافة وعلى كل التسهيلات التي قدمت لنا. سيد الرئيس، إن المشاركة المستمرة والمنتظمة للوفد الجزائري في كل دورات لجنة حقوق الإنسان والشعوب يترجم التزام بلادي بمبادئ وأهداف الاتحاد الإفريقي، ويعبر عن الإرادة السياسية للمساهمة الجادة في ترقية وحماية حقوق الإنسان ليس فقط في الجزائر ولكن في قارتنا بصفة عامة. كما أن بلادي على قناعة راسخة بأن اللجنة الإفريقية لحقوق الإنسان والشعوب هي آلية أساسية ومركزية في الهرم المؤسساتي للاتحاد الإفريقي في مجال حقوق الإنسان، ومن ثم كان لابد أن تبقى معبرة لتطلعات الشعوب والدول الإفريقية في ظل الحوار البناء والجامع وتجنيبها التجاذبات السياسية والأفكار الداخلة والمنافية للثقافات والأخلاق الإفريقية. وفي مقدمة حقوق الإنسان بالنسبة لقارتنا ولكثير من الشعوب المعمورة تأتي الحقوق الاقتصادية والاجتماعية والثقافية والحق في التنمية. ومن هذا المنطلق خصصت الجمعية العامة للأمم المتحدة دورتها 74 لهذه السنة لموضوع القضاء على الفقر والتعليم ذو النوعية الرفيعة ومكافحة التغيير المناخي والإدماج.
Excuse me. I think you are too fast for the interpret.
Okay.
If you slow down a bit. Thank you.
You start again. كما قلت وفي مقدمة حقوق الإنسان بالنسبة لقارتنا ولكثير من الشعوب المعمورة تأتي الحقوق الاقتصادية والاجتماعية والثقافية والحق في التنمية. ومن هذا المنطلق خصصت الجمعية العامة للأمم المتحدة دورتها 74 لهذه السنة لموضوع القضاء على الفقر والتعليم ذو النوعية الرفيعة ومكافحة التغيير المناخي والإدماج، وهي قضايا مترابطة وجوهرية لتحقيق التنمية المستدامة. سيد الرئيس، في إفريقيا ما يزال الفقر أحد التحديات الكبرى، فبالرغم من المجهودات الجبارة المبذولة في السنوات الأخيرة للقضاء على الفقر، غير أن هذا الهدف ما يزال بعيد المنال بالنسبة لكثير من الدول ذات الدخل المحدود. فإذا كان التطور الاقتصادي والتكنولوجي والرقمي حقق قفزة نوعية غير مسبوقة، إلا أن مستويات الفقر المدقع تشكل مصدر استياء وانشغال. فحسب تقرير صدر مؤخرا عن اليونيسف فإن 40% من أطفال إفريقيا جنوب الصحراء يعانون من سوء التغذية. من جانب آخر هناك حوالي 740 مليون شخص يعيشون بأقل من $2 في اليوم في العالم، نسبة كبيرة منهم في إفريقيا وبالخصوص في المناطق الريفية، مما يطرح بحدة إشكالية توازن التنمية. وتعتبر القارة الإفريقية بخصوص منطقة الساحل والصحراء الأكثر تعرضا لآثار التغيير المناخي المتمثل في التصحر والجفاف وارتفاع القياسي لدرجات الحرارة، مما يؤثر سلبا على المحاصيل الزراعية الأساسية أي الغذاء اليومي لشعوب المنطقة. ويمكننا الجزم بأن محاربة الفقر لا تنحصر في العمل الخيري، بل تستوجب حكم راشد تشاركي واقتصاد رشيد يراعي السلامة البيئية لتحقيق العدالة الاجتماعية والاستقرار والسلم للجميع. ولا يخفى على أحد أن الفقر يعتبر أرضية خصبة يتغذى منها الإرهاب وكل أنواع الإجرام كالاتجار بالبشر والتجار بالمخدرات وكل أنواع النهب والتهريب. هذا الاقتصاد الإجرامي يعزز من الإمكانيات المالية للجماعات الإرهابية ويسهل عليها استقطاب الشباب الذي يعاني من الفقر المزمن وبطالة فتاكة. وتبرز هنا التجربة الجزائرية في مكافحة الإرهاب من خلال تجفيف منابعه وفي مجابهة التطرف والتطرف العنيف، فتبنت سياسة شاملة ومتعددة الجوانب تجمع بين محاربة الإرهاب وإجراء إصلاحات عميقة في المجال الاقتصادي والاجتماعي والثقافي وكذلك في المجال الديني. ولا ينكر أحد كذلك أن لمشكلة الهجرة علاقة وطيدة بالفقر والحرمان وانسداد الآفاق والأعداد الهائلة من الأفارقة الذين اختفوا أو ماتوا في البحر الأبيض المتوسط في محاولتهم الهجرة إلى أوروبا يبقى وسمة عار على جبين البشرية، ويلقي المسؤولية القانونية والأخلاقية على من لم يقدم الغوث الإنساني لهؤلاء الضحايا. إن احترام حقوق الإنسان وكرامته يجب أن يكون أساس كل السياسات في ظل مقاربة شاملة تراعي مصالح كل الأطراف المعنية أي دول المصدر والعبور والمقصد، كما يستوجب أخذ بعين الاعتبار الأسباب المؤدية للهجرة وفي مقدمتها مشاكل التنمية. وينبغي التذكير أن الجزائر رافعت في كل المناسبات بالتأكيد على ضرورة اعتماد سياسة تشاركية لمعالجة قضية الهجرة، ودعت إلى التركيز على البعد التنموي وتفادي المقاربات الأمنية والمتطرفة. وبالحديث عن التنمية الاجتماعية سيد الرئيس، فلقد قطعت الجزائر أشواطا حاسمة في مجال محاربة الفقر، وكيف لا، وهي التي جعلت من الإنسان محور كل البرامج التنموية منذ الاستقلال. وشهدت السنوات الأخيرة تحويلات مالية هامة للخدمات الاجتماعية في إطار التضامن الوطني لتوفير العيش الكريم للطبقات الهشة والمعوزة. وشملت هذه السياسات مجالات مختلفة كالتعليم والصحة والسكن وتوفير المياه ومختلف آليات الإدماج الاجتماعي والتقليل من البطالة. فيما يخص الحق في الصحة وبالتحديد فقد رصدت الحكومة الأسبوع الماضي 42 مليار دينار جزائري لمشاريع الصحة في الجنوب والهضاب العليا التي كانت تعاني بعض الاختلالات في مجال التغطية الصحية، وهذا لتحقيق العدالة الاجتماعية بين كل المواطنين. وعلى المدى المتوسط سيتم تكوين 200 طبيب مختص من أبناء الجنوب والهضاب العليا لسد النقص الملاحظ. وفي الأخير تم مضاعفة أجور الأطباء الممارسين في الجنوب والهضاب العليا. كل هذه الإجراءات تهدف إلى تمتع كل المواطنين دون تمييز في الحق في الصحة. السيد الرئيس، عملت الجزائر كذلك على إيلاء أشخاص معوقين الأهمية اللازمة، وذلك من خلال سياسة واضحة المعالم ترتكز على الوقاية والتربية والتعليم والتكوين المهني والتشغيل. وهنا أطلع لجنتكم الموقرة أن الحكومة الجزائرية قررت في 12 سبتمبر الماضي رفع 150% المنحة المالية التي تعطى شهريا لأشخاص معوقين، والتي ارتفعت من 4000 دينار جزائري إلى 10000 دينار جزائري. كما تقرر رفع نسبة العمال المعاقين الموجودين في الشركات والإدارات العمومية من 1 إلى 3%. السيد الرئيس، في 12 ديسمبر القادم ستكون الجزائر على موعد مع انتخابات الرئاسية التي ستكتب صفحة جديدة في تاريخ الجزائر المستقلة لتكريس الاختيار الديمقراطي للشعب الجزائري. وفي هذا الإطار الاستعداد جاري حاليا لتمكين الشعب الجزائري من ممارسة حقه الدستوري في اختيار الرئيس الذي يرتضيه. وتأتي هذه الانتخابات الرئاسية تتويجا للحوار الوطني الذي شمل دون إقصاء كل الفاعلين في المجتمع من أحزاب سياسية وجمعيات ونقابات وطنية وشخصيات مستقلة، التي أجمعت في معظمها على ضرورة التعجيل بإجراء الانتخابات الرئاسية. وفي هذا الإطار تم إنشاء وتنصيب الهيئة الوطنية المستقلة للانتخابات التي ستتولى كل المهام التي كانت موكلة سابقا في تنظيم وتسيير العملية الانتخابية برمتها، فهي تسهر على تنظيم ومراقبة الانتخابات في مختلف مراحلها، مما سيضفي عليها كامل الشفافية والمصداقية والنزاهة. وأختم السيد الرئيس أنه لا يمكنني أن أختم مداخلتي هذه دون الطرق إلى مسألة المدرجة باستمرار في جدول أعمال لجنتكم الموقرة، ألا وهي مسألة الاحتلال بالقوة وانتهاك الشرعية الدولية لإقليم الغير مستقل للصحراء الغربية، آخر مستعمرة في إفريقيا، والتي تتطلب وتتطلب منا جميعا مزيد من التجند والتضامن وتنديد خلقات حقوق الإنسان بها. إن بلادي التي تستضيف لأكثر من 4 عقود اللاجئين الصحراويين تذكر كل مرة بالمسؤولية التاريخية والسياسية لمنظمة الأمم المتحدة تجاه إقليم الصحراء الغربية والشعب الصحراوي. وعليه أدعو هنا لجنتكم الموقرة إلى ممارسة الولاية الفعلية والقانونية واستخدام سلطاتها المعنوية لحماية الشعب الصحراوي المتواجد بالأراضي المحتلة، ومطالبة المملكة المغربية أن تصادق.
Thank you very much, Algeria. For that update on the state of human rights, particularly highlighting 2 important issues. One relating to poverty and the impact that poverty has on the rights of people, including also it becoming a fertile ground for the emergence of various social ills, as well as driving people into migration. And the point that you have highlighted on terrorism as well. And also thank you for highlighting the need for focusing on climate crisis as well. Indeed, an area that has become a major, increasingly becoming an emergency situation for the world. The investment that you have highlighted that is being put by the government of Algeria to meet the right to health and also to fulfill the rights of persons with disabilities are also well noted. And the Commission also notes the preparations for convening the national elections in Algeria in December this year, and this Commission wishes Algeria very well in this respect, as the convening of the election is key for enabling citizens to exercise their rights of participation in the governance of the country, and we do hope that the elections will be conducted in a conducive and free and fair environment. Thank you, Algeria. I don't have any further list from member states, but I am informed that there are a couple of national human rights institutions. The first one is the National Human Rights Institution of Algeria. Yes, please. No. The National Human Rights Institution of Algeria, please.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Je tiens tout d'abord à vous présenter mes félicitations pour votre élection à la tête de l'auguste Commission africaine des droits de l'homme et des peuples. Honorable commissaire, mesdames et messieurs, comme vous le savez, l'INDH algérienne a été affiliée à la Commission africaine des droits de l'homme et des peuples lors de la 27e session ordinaire de la Commission africaine qui s'est tenue du 27 avril au 11 mai 2000 à Alger, sous l'appellation l'Observatoire national des droits de l'homme. Puis en 2001 sous l'appellation de la Commission consultative des droits de l'homme, et en vertu de la révision constitutionnelle de 2016 sous l'appellation du Conseil national des droits de l'homme, qui est composé en fait de 38 membres, dont 16 femmes. Le mouvement citoyen et populaire, initié le 22 février 2019 à travers des manifestations pacifiques sur tout le territoire national, a porté légitimement des revendications politiques, économiques ainsi que sociales et continue une forme de démocratie participative. Le peuple algérien, seul détenteur de la souveraineté nationale, conformément aux articles 7 et 8 de la Constitution, a prouvé sa maturité et a forgé l'admiration du monde entier pour son sens unique et le caractère pacifique des manifestations. Cet appel populaire à la réforme a trouvé écho auprès des autorités publiques qui ont engagé des actions d'ordre légal pour éviter le vide constitutionnel. Convaincu que le recours au suffrage universel direct est la seule et unique solution démocratique, le Conseil national des droits de l'homme, en tant qu'institution nationale de promotion et de protection des droits humains, a initié depuis le mois de septembre 2019 une série de conférences sur le droit.
Kindly, can you read it a little bit slower?
Sur le droit d'être électeur et éligible, droit consacré par la Charte africaine de la démocratie, des élections et de la bonne gouvernance. En tant qu'institution de protection des droits de l'homme, le CNDH, en tant qu'organe chargé d'examiner toute situation d'atteinte aux droits de l'homme, a pour défi et responsabilité de travailler à l'opérationnalisation de la démocratie et la prise en charge des doléances des citoyens à travers le territoire national. C'est pourquoi il a mis en place 5 délégations régionales et 72 correspondants locaux qui suivent de près le déroulement des manifestations pacifiques et en documentant tout événement ou autre incident à même de porter atteinte aux droits de l'homme. Le suivi et la documentation de ces manifestations pacifiques feront l'objet d'un rapport thématique que le CNDH rendra public prochainement. Le CNDH a également initié une série de visites aux établissements chargés de la prise en charge des personnes âgées à travers le pays, et ce afin d'évaluer la situation et la prise en charge des droits relatifs aux personnes âgées ainsi que les manquements en la matière. Cette série de visites sera sanctionnée par l'élaboration d'un rapport sur la situation de cette catégorie vulnérable et qui sera également encourager les autorités publiques à ratifier le protocole à la Charte africaine des droits de l'homme et des peuples relatif aux personnes âgées adopté en 2016. En tant qu'organe de promotion des droits humains, le CNDH a un mandat pour mener toute action de sensibilisation, d'information, de communication pour la promotion des droits de l'homme. Le Conseil est aussi chargé de promouvoir la recherche, l'éducation et l'enseignement des droits de l'homme dans tous les cycles de formation et dans les milieux socio-professionnels. C'est à ce titre que le CNDH a mis en place des comités de suivi autour de plusieurs thématiques, notamment le comité chargé de promouvoir la lutte contre la discrimination à l'égard des femmes. Ce comité est chargé d'organiser des campagnes de formation et de vulgarisation pour lutter contre la discrimination à l'égard des femmes et d'élaborer un rapport sur la question. Ce comité travaille à la vulgarisation des principes des droits et obligations énoncés par la Convention CEDAW, la Charte africaine et le protocole de Maputo, ainsi que d'autres supports tels que l'agenda de l'Union africaine 2003, notamment son aspiration numéro 6 et l'observation générale de la Commission africaine des droits de l'homme et des peuples relative à l'article 14 du protocole de Maputo. Le comité en charge du suivi de l'exécution des agendas 2030 et 2063. Ce mécanisme, réunissant différents secteurs ministériels institutionnels et de la société civile, a été mis en place en 2019 et a pour mission de s'enquérir de l'état d'exécution, de réalisation des objectifs, des aspirations, des agendas 2030 et 2063. Ce comité a également pour mission d'œuvrer à la vulgarisation de ces objectifs à travers l'organisation de séminaires, de sessions de formation et de rapports sur la question. Le comité a d'ailleurs participé aux réunions et consultations organisées pour la réalisation de la revue nationale volontaire sur la mise en œuvre des objectifs de développement durable en Algérie, présenté en juillet 2019 au segment ministériel du Forum politique de haut niveau pour le développement durable du Conseil économique et social des Nations Unies, ECOSOC. Le comité en charge du suivi de la Convention internationale des droits de l'enfant. Ce comité a été installé au niveau du CNDH en février 2019. Il réunit les différents secteurs ministériels et organisations de la société civile en charge de la question afin de suivre l'exécution des recommandations émises, notamment par le comité des droits de l'enfant et le comité d'experts sur le droit et le bien-être de l'enfant. Je vous remercie.
Thank you very much for that update, particularly for highlighting the protest events in Algeria demanding political rights and the change that these demands for political rights are bringing about in Algeria. We also take note of the focus that is being given to the rights of older persons, including the study that you are conducting, the Maputo Protocol, as well as the establishment of a committee on the rights of the child as part of the National Human Rights Institution. Thank you again. The next is Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission. You have 5 minutes, Madam.
Honorable Chairperson and Commissioners, all protocol observed. Thank you for awarding the Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission, ZHRC, an opportunity to speak briefly on the human rights situation in Zimbabwe. Would like to apologize for not making our statement yesterday as scheduled. This statement will give highlights on some of the human rights matters that the ZHRC considers key in as far as the enjoyment of human rights in Zimbabwe is concerned. This is, however, not to say that any other issues that may be left out are of lesser importance. The ZHRC takes note that Zimbabwe passed a progressive constitution in 2013. This constitution has an elaborate Bill of Rights, which includes provisions on socio-economic rights that are in accordance with international and regional human rights standards. However, the socio-economic situation in the country has continued to deteriorate over the last decade. This has resulted in persistent strikes by health sector workers owing to poor working conditions, impacting negatively on the right to health care for the people of Zimbabwe. Teachers have also joined in the strikes that's affecting the right to education. The ZHRC urges the government of Zimbabwe to address the labor-related issues of health sector workers, teachers, and other state employees so that the rights of the rights to health care, education, and other rights as enshrined in Zimbabwe's constitution are upheld. On elections, the ZHRC notes that the 2018 harmonized elections were generally peaceful, and there was an increase in participation with a record number of 48 political parties contesting and 23 aspiring presidential candidates participating as contestants. Shall I proceed? Thank you. The ZHRC monitored the harmonized elections and produced a report that noted significant improvements in the Zimbabwean electoral processes. However, the same report also raised the concern that some citizens were subjected to conditions that made it impossible for them to enjoy their human rights in full, as they were exposed to intimidation, threats, and denial of state-funded social assistance on the basis of alleged or actual opposition party membership. The ZHRC was also concerned by the post-election violence of the 1st of August 2018. A commission of inquiry was set up by His Excellency the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, led by former President of South Africa, Kgalema Motlanthe. This commission of inquiry produced a report with findings and recommendations. The ZHRC urges the government of Zimbabwe to ensure that the violators are identified and prosecuted so that justice is served. On freedom of association and assembly, the ZHRC notes that the country continued to experience violent protests and demonstrations. In particular, the ZHRC is concerned that despite the Motlanthe Commission of Inquiry report and recommendations, there were further demonstrations in January 2019, which were marred by violence and disproportionate use of force by security forces, which resulted in loss of life. The ZHRC notes the indicated intention of the government of Zimbabwe to implement the recommendations of the Motlanthe Commission of Inquiry and urges the government to expedite the process. Furthermore, the ZHRC welcomes the recent visit at the invitation of the government of Zimbabwe by the United Nations Special Rapporteur on the rights to freedom of peaceful assembly and association. The ZHRC encourages the government of Zimbabwe to seriously consider the preliminary report of the Special Rapporteur and start implementing some of the recommendations without awaiting the final report where possible. Zimbabwe has been affected by natural disasters such as flooding and cyclones, which have impacted negatively on the right to life and left some people in the affected areas vulnerable. In February 2014, the Masvingo province was hit by flooding, which caused partial collapse of the Tokwem-Kosi Dam, resulting in over 1,500 families being left homeless and getting displaced. Recently, Zimbabwe and other neighboring countries were affected by Cyclone Idai in March 2009. The ZHRC commends the efforts by the government of Zimbabwe to mobilize own resources and request support from different partners in ensuring that the rights of the affected persons are protected. Furthermore, the ZHRC acknowledges the ratification of the Kampala Convention on Internal Displaced Persons by the government of Zimbabwe. The government is urged to domesticate this convention so that vulnerable communities have their human rights protected. The ZHRC also monitors prisons and police cells as part of its constitutional mandate and has noted a number of shortcomings relating to the conditions under which persons are detained, such as lack of adequate food supplies, basic sanitation, and health facilities. These have been noted in the ZHRC's reports on the different institutions that were monitored.
Your time is up.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Thank you for adding the important details relating to the human rights situation in Zimbabwe, exercising your mandate at the National Human Rights Commission, including the impact that the labor-related issues are having on education as well as on the right to health, and also the challenge that you have identified in relation to the conduct of the elections in Zimbabwe, and your voice relating to the implementation of the Motlanthe Commission recommendations, and also the need for addressing the challenge facing communities who have been affected by cyclones and flooding. And we also welcome the ratification of the Kampala Convention, and we join your call for its domestication in order to help people who have been affected by the flooding as well as by the cyclone to benefit from its implementation. And also your note about poor prison conditions. Thank you for that. I have seen Uganda, I think, asking for right of reply. Yes.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the opportunity that you've availed to this delegation to respond to the issues that have been raised this morning. Allow me, Chair, first and foremost to congratulate you and the members of your Bureau and assure you of Uganda's continued cooperation. Chair, with regard to the issues that were raised this morning on the rights of ethnic minorities and especially the Batwa in Uganda, let me state from the onset that Article 32 of the Constitution of Uganda provides for affirmative action in favor of historically disadvantaged groups. Indeed, the Ugandan Constitution refers to indigenous people as vulnerable and marginalized groups for purposes of addressing their peculiar challenges. Chair, in recognition of their right to culture, the Ministry of Gender and Labour and Social Development has documented the cultural heritage of the ethnic minorities, the Alur, Ik, and the Basongora, including the Batwa, to preserve their cultural norms and inform decision-making regarding their protection. However, Chair, we continue to suffer difficulties in reaching these communities in form of language barriers, lack of community awareness about government services, and remoteness that impedes their access to healthcare, education, and other amenities. Nevertheless, the government of Uganda has been very creative in its efforts to empower the marginalized, especially the Batwa and other ethnic minorities. Most recently, Chair, the Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife initiated the Batwa Bwindi Experience that includes the Batwa taking part in tourism initiatives with proceeds returning to their communities. The ministry also aims to reduce poverty in the Batwa communities, especially with women, by empowering them with contemporary skills that match their lifestyles, including hunting and basket weaving. In April this year, Chair, the Uganda Wildlife Authority handed over land worth 180 million Ugandan shillings to the Batwa community so as to enable them to continue living with dignity. Chair, with regard to education, the ministry in 2016 committed over $10 million to addressing the education needs of ethnic minorities. This project is being expanded in 2019 to cover secondary school education and is being developed in consultation with all the ethnic minorities in the districts of Bondibujo, Kabale, Kasese, Moroto, Kabong, and Kwen. Chair, we have the Equal Opportunities Commission, whose mandate is to address such matters and have handled a number of cases that relate to ethnic minorities and the Batwa specifically. Chair, allow me to conclude by stating that the government of Uganda is committed to promoting not just the human rights for the vulnerable and marginalized, but also ensuring that equal opportunities are for all. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Uganda, for providing us with specific details in terms of the measures that are being taken, including the specific recognition that is accorded for minority ethnic groups, and indeed multiple structural challenges that these communities face and the resultant impediment that they encounter for enjoying their rights on an equal basis with others, and hence their condition demanding special attention. And we encourage Uganda to continue to provide this special attention that these communities deserve, and also your recognition of the challenge that the government faces to reach these communities, but the efforts that are being made, and we would like you to continue to doing that, including the points that have been highlighted earlier this morning. Thank you. We now have another national human rights institution, the National Human Rights Institution of the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic.
السلام عليكم.
Thank you.
السيد الرئيس، السيدات والسادة المفوضون المحترمون، السيدات والسادة ممثلي الدول والمنظمات والجمعيات الحضور الكريم، أغتنم الفرصة الكريمة لأضم صوتي للمتحدثين الذين سبقوني لأهنئكم بعد انتخابكم ورفقة المكتب الجديد، ونحن على يقين بالدور الهام والجهد الذي ستبذلونه لترقية وتعزيز حقوق الإنسان في قارتنا. إن معالجة اللجنة لمسألة حقوق الإنسان وتطبيق مقتضيات الميثاق الإفريقي لحقوق الإنسان والشعوب له من الأهمية الكبيرة بالنسبة للشعب الصحراوي، خاصة إذا ما أخذنا بعين الاعتبار أن الميثاق الإفريقي هو الميثاق الوحيد في الهيكلة الحقوقية العالمية الذي يزاوج بين حق الإنسان وحق الشعوب، وهو ما يميز عن المواثيق الأخرى بالنسبة لشعبنا الذي كان ضحية لإنكار العدالة وعدم تصفية الاستعمار. إن تعميم ثقافة حقوق الإنسان ومضامينه يحظى بأهمية أساسية من قبل لجنتنا ومنظمات المجتمع المدني الصحراوي، حيث تشكل الملتقيات والندوات والأيام الدراسية التحسيسية ذات الصلة مناسبة لنشر كل الوثائق المتعلقة بحقوق الإنسان والشعوب والتعريف بها من أجل المساهمة في بناء الإنسان الصحراوي وتسليحه بالمعارف القانونية والحقوقية للدفاع عن حقوقه، وعلى رأسها حق شعبنا غير قابل للتصرف في تقرير المصير والاستقلال. وفي هذا السياق استقبلت اللجنة الصحراوية لحقوق الإنسان يوم 30 أبريل 2019 وفدا عن لجنة خبراء الميثاق الإفريقي لحقوق الإنسان ورفاهية الطفل للاتحاد الإفريقي، وهي زيارة هامة توجت بتنظيم يوم دراسي مشترك لفائدة المؤسسات والهيئات والوزارات الصحراوية المعنية حول عملية التحسيس وتشجيع الدولة الصحراوية للمصادقة على البروتوكولين الملحقين والمتعلقين بفئة المسنين وذوي الاحتياجات الخاصة. وفي هذا السياق صادق البرلمان الصحراوي يوم 24 يونيو 2019 ضمن أشغال دورته التشريعية الربيعية على انضمام الجمهورية الصحراوية للبروتوكول المتعلق بحقوق المسنين والبروتوكول المتعلق بحقوق الأشخاص ذوي الإعاقة، بعد أن ساهمت لجنتنا بتقديم توصيات للحكومة حول الموضوع. وتأتي هذه المصادقة للدولة الصحراوية على هذين البروتوكولين انسجاما مع التزاماتها داخل الاتحاد الإفريقي بغية الرقي بالقوانين المعمول بها في بلادنا لتأخذ بعدا
Please.
شكرا سيد الرئيس. كما شاركت اللجنة الصحراوية لحقوق الإنسان في إشغال المنتدى السياسي الثالث لحقوق الإنسان الذي عقد بمقر الاتحاد الإفريقي بأديس أبابا يومي 5 و 6 سبتمبر 2019 تحت شعار مساهمة المؤسسات الوطنية الإفريقية لحقوق الإنسان في إيجاد حلول مستدامة لظاهرة التهجير القسري والنزوح في إفريقيا. كما نظمت لجنتنا بالتعاون مع وزارة العدل يومين دراسيين خلال يوليوز 2019 حول سبل الارتقاء بمؤسسات التأهيل وإعادة التربية بحضور ممثلين عن القطاعات الشريكة وبمشاركة مدراء المؤسسات المعنية وهي المركز لإدماج للنساء ومركز الأحداث ومؤسسة إعادة التربية بالإضافة لمشاركة ممثلين عن وزارة العدل واللجنة القانونية بالبرلمان ووزارة الرعاية الاجتماعية ووزارة التعليم والتربية والمياه والبيئة واللجنة الوطنية لحقوق الإنسان ووسائل الإعلام. وخلال بداية الموسم الدراسي الحالي نظمت لجنتنا بالتعاون مع قسم الحماية القانونية للمفوضية السامية لغوث اللاجئين مسابقة وطنية للرسم أطفال المدارس حول موضوع حقوق الإنسان والسلام بجميع المدارس التعليمية الابتدائية، وخصصت جوائز تشجيعية للفائزين ستسلم لهم في احتفال رسمي خلال عطلة شهر مارس المقبل. كما نظمت اللجنة بالتعاون مع معهد إغوا الإسباني ببلاد الباسك خلال شهر سبتمبر الماضي ورشة تكوينية لمدة أسبوع لفائدة ممثلين عن المجتمع المدني الصحراوي بمخيمات لاجين والأراضي المحتلة من الجمهورية الصحراوية حول تقنيات وإعداد التقارير الموازية. وشاركت اللجنة أيضا في أشغال مجلس حقوق الإنسان بجنيف أين نظمنا ورشات تتعلق بوضعية المعتقلين السياسيين الصحراويين بالسجون المغربية وموضوع الاستغلال والنهب اللا شرعي للثروات الطبيعية الصحراوية. كما شاركنا في أشغال الدورة الثانية لشبكة الحقوقيين لدولة البحر المتوسط بنابولي خلال شهر يونيو 2019. في الختام سيد الرئيس، لقد رحبت لجنتنا
des droits de l'homme imputables à leur gouvernement et à des groupes séparatistes. Le Centre for Human Rights and Democracy in Africa, basé au Cameroun, a fait le bilan suivant. Plus de 200 villages ont été partiellement ou totalement détruits. Entre 450 000 et 550 000 personnes ont été déplacées à la suite de la crise. Plus de 2000 personnes ont été tuées et environ 1,3 million de personnes ont besoin d'une aide humanitaire. 30 000 à 35 000 personnes ont demandé l'asile dans les pays voisins, notamment le Nigeria. 600 000 enfants ont été privés d'éducation depuis ces 3 dernières années. Tout en félicitant le gouvernement camerounais pour les mesures prises récemment dans le cadre de l'organisation du Grand Dialogue national et de la libération de certains prisonniers politiques, nous exhortons le gouvernement camerounais à continuer à rechercher une solution durable à la crise par un dialogue véritable et constructif avec toutes les parties prenantes concernées. Nous appelons également la Commission à entreprendre une mission de suivi des droits de l'homme au Cameroun et à adopter une résolution condamnant les violations des droits de l'homme et à exhorter le gouvernement à respecter ses obligations en vertu de la Charte. Monsieur le Président, le 14 octobre et les jours suivants en Guinée, les membres du Front national pour la défense de la Constitution opposés au projet de modification de la Constitution ont organisé des manifestations réprimées par les forces de l'ordre. Les affrontements ont causé la mort d'une dizaine de personnes, dont un gendarme, et fait plus de 70 blessés, en plus des personnes qui ont été arrêtées. C'est pour cela que la RADDHO appelle la Commission à user de son influence pour amener les autorités guinéennes à libérer immédiatement les personnes détenues, arrêtées de manière arbitraire, à s'abstenir de procéder à des modifications constitutionnelles qui visent uniquement le maintien au pouvoir et compromettant ainsi l'alternance politique, à respecter les libertés d'expression et de manifestation telles que garanties par les pactes internationaux relatifs aux droits civils politiques, mais également par la Charte africaine des droits de l'homme et des peuples, et à faciliter la mise en place d'un espace de dialogue suffisamment inclusif des tendances politiques pour un dénouement apaisé des crises sociopolitiques en Guinée. Je vous remercie, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you very much for the issues that you have highlighted, particularly the specific statistics that you have given us on the impact of the crisis in Cameroon, the number of villages that have been affected, and the number of people who are